Discipline is a concept that can often seem unclear, and that lack of clarity is a perfect gateway to procrastination. So, do you have a solid definition of discipline? Even if you do, it can still feel like a daunting and overwhelming idea. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what discipline really means, explain why habits alone aren't enough, and explore the different types of discipline, a topic that's rarely discussed. I'll also guide you on how to actively practice and improve your discipline over time. Each type of discipline ultimately leads you to the life you desire. Definition: I define discipline as doing what you know you should do, even when you don't feel like it. This is important because motivation isn't part of this definition. Motivation is about doing what you know you should do when you feel like it. So motivation won't be part of this video. Similarly, habits won't be a focus here either, as habits are actions you do on autopilot without requiring discipline. However, I will touch on how discipline plays a role in forming and maintaining habits. Mike Tyson has an interesting take on discipline. He describes it as doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. This is essentially an extreme version of the definition I just shared, but I like to think of discipline as a scale. Discipline is doing what you know you should do, even when you don't feel like it, and you can either do it as if you hate it or as if you love it. Imagine doing it like you love it on the far right of the scale and doing it like you hate it on the far left. The key takeaway is to simply do it whether you do it with love or hate. That said, it makes sense to aim for the far right of the scale. Doing it with love will likely be more efficient and sustainable. While focusing on habits can reduce the need for constant discipline, you still need discipline to build a habit in the first place. Discipline is also crucial to maintaining that habit. Inevitably, we all fall off track at some point. There's a saying, missing a habit once is a mistake, but missing it twice is the start of a new habit. Correcting a missed habit requires discipline because if you let yourself miss it once, it's easy to miss it again, and you'll continue to miss it here and there. The key is snapping yourself back into it, and maintaining your habit requires discipline. Self-discipline is crucial. It's a fundamental trait for anyone who wants to become the best version of themselves and create the life they desire. Before we move on, I just want to quickly mention my free newsletter. If you want to dive deeper into self-improvement concepts, get access to my free Notion templates for a limited time, or just get to know me better, feel free to join my free newsletter linked below. Now, let's get back to the types of discipline. I like to divide discipline into different types, depending on the specific challenge I'm facing. There's discipline for overcoming big fears in the moment, discipline for tackling the important tasks you know you should do, and discipline for dealing with small distractions, or discipline when I'm tired later in the day. The reason I divide discipline into these types is because each situation triggers similar feelings and challenges in how it feels to assert discipline. For example, overcoming big fears in the moment can feel like a life or death scenario. These situations might include things like presenting in front of a large crowd, discussing something crucial with your boss, or even approaching someone you're attracted to on the street. On the other hand, discipline for doing the important tasks you know you should do doesn't have that life or death urgency. It feels different, but I really like how Brian Tracy refers to it as eating the frog. It's such a fitting analogy because, honestly, it often feels that way. While the solutions to these challenges may overlap, and we'll explore those soon, this way of thinking has definitely helped me too. I've categorized these types of discipline based on the situations I frequently encounter, but you can break them down into as many specific scenarios and feelings as you like. I recommend starting with the 3 situations you face most often, and if you want to divide them further later on, feel free to do so. Solutions. Now, let's get into the solutions. I'll share how I combat some of my own disciplined enemies. Since discipline is deeply personal, think of my strategies as inspirations to help you develop your own. For discipline against big fears in the moment, I have a few strategies I'll list out first and then explain. Go or move ownership, future me. Future benefits, past victories, discussing me. Shift focus to them. Shift focus to experimentation. Go or move when facing big fears. My first instinct is to focus on moving my body, nothing else. In these moments of fear, your mind will try to obsess over everything that could go wrong. If you let it, it will paralyze you. This move strategy often works, but if it doesn't, I switch to Plan B. Plan B, mindset shifts. Plan B involves shifting my mindset. The first shift is ownership. I remind myself that no one is coming to save me. I'm solely responsible for my life. If I want opportunities, I need to take responsibility, not just for the ones that come my way, but for creating my own. After adopting this mindset, I'll return to Plan A and just start moving. This shift often breaks the mental block that's preventing me from taking action. If ownership doesn't work, I'll run through other mindset shifts. For example, I'll ask myself, what would my future self do? I then imagine being just 5% more like the person I want to become and ask, what would I do right now? Once again, I'll return to Plan A moving forward. I'll continue cycling through different mindset shifts on my list until I'm able to move. The reason I have so many different mindsets to run through is simple. Different ones resonate at different times. Some may work one day, but not the next. Others might work for a while and then lose their effectiveness. Having this variety allows me to adjust and keep pushing forward, increase the likelihood that I'll be able to act, even in the face of big fear. This is how I consistently practice my self-discipline when these situations arise. In fact, these are the only moments when you can truly practice self-discipline. By definition, you can only practice self-discipline when you don't feel like it. So, when these situations do come up, be grateful they're the perfect opportunities to strengthen and sharpen your self-discipline. Tracking discipline. The last thing I want to touch on is tracking discipline. Many people expect themselves to be perfectly disciplined all the time, to never miss anything, and to always get things done without fail. While having this level of ambition is admirable, it's also unrealistic and can actually be harmful. This expectation often leads to emotional setbacks and a significant loss of confidence when you miss a day. Because, let's face it, you're inevitably going to miss a day. A much healthier approach is to view your discipline over a longer period of time. Instead of focusing solely on day-to-day progress, try looking at it over the span of a week or a month. Are you on average becoming more disciplined? This approach is better because even if you have a bad day, you can still be on track in the long run. It also helps you avoid being too hard on yourself and, worst case, giving up entirely. This is why tracking your progress is so important. It allows you to maintain a long-term perspective and focus on your overall progress, not just the occasional setback. Additionally, the act of tracking itself will boost your discipline and motivation. It increases your awareness and provides valuable feedback. I personally use my own tracking methods to keep myself on track. I use a tracker called the Ultimate Life Tracker, which you can check out through the link below. However, feel free to use whichever tracker works best for you. The most important thing is to simply track your progress. To wrap things up, discipline is about consistent progress, not perfection. By understanding and practicing discipline in various areas of your life and tracking your progress over time, you'll improve and reach your goals. Start small, stay consistent, and you'll see significant improvements.